Hello, g'day folks. Now here is a little experiment that I've been wanting to do in a while, and that's to test the performance of the Demeyere Atlantis on electric hobs of different sizes. So first of all, now as I imagine you are aware, it is important to match the hob size to the bottom diameter of the pan as close as possible, and more specifically we need to ensure that the hob is not too small for the bottom of the pan, and that's for two reasons. So first of all, we want the most even heating across the bottom diameter, and the second reason is that we want to prevent any chances of the pan warping, which can happen if the hob is too small and if you heat the pan too fast. Now I'm not specifically talking about this pan. I'm referring to all pans in general, right? You should not have a hob that's too small, and it's not good if you have that, and if you heat it up too fast, it could cause the pan to warp. So let's have a look at my cooktop. Now this is a pretty shitty, apologies for the language, electric cooktop in my opinion. But anyway, so here we've got a 21.5 centimeter hob. So this is a double hob, which so there's an inner part and an outer ring. So this is 21.5. We have two hobs that are 18 centimeters in diameter. So that's these two, and the smallest hob is 16 centimeters in diameter. And in this experiment, as mentioned, we are going to use the 24 centimeter Atlantis Casserole, right, with a full 24 centimeter on the bottom. Now, I already have the data from my previous videos for this biggest hob, so we're not going to do that again, but we're going to test it on the 18 centimeter hob and the 16 centimeter hob. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like, I made some cutouts. So this is the 21 centimeter hob. It's not a perfect circle, apologies for that, but so this is, let's say, pretty closely matched with the diameter of the pan. It could be a little bit bigger, but that's what I have. So this is 21.5. Just move this a bit closer. And this is the 18. Now, I never use this pan on the 18 centimeter hob because I think it's really too small. So this is what the 18 centimeter hob looks like, and this is the coverage you get with that. And this is the 16 centimeter hob. So obviously I'm never going to use this other than for testing purposes. I'm never going to use it on a hob this small with a pan of this bottom diameter. So just a small note, I will be using a slightly lower heat setting for the 18 and the 16, and that's, again, I want to minimize any chance of the pan warping. So whereas with the 21.5 centimeters, I usually use a heat setting of 8, but we're gonna use a heat setting of 7 for the 18 and the 16 centimeters. And what we're gonna look for, as with my previous videos, we're gonna look for the temperature difference between the center of the pan and the edge of the pan. Okay, so the temperature differential across the radius of the pan. And another reason I wanted to use the Atlantis is because, well, this pan, this bottom with the copper disc, is supposed to spread heat so well. So I'm going to put it to the test and see how well it really does when the conditions are not optimal. Okay, so when the hobs are much smaller than the bottom of the pan. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's have a look at the results. And we're going to go from right to left, actually. So the right side of the screen, I'll just zoom in a little bit. So for the 21 centimeter hob, so this is from my previous video test that I did. We used a heat setting of 8 out of 9. And as you can see, the performance is very good of the Atlantis. So basically, the temperature difference between the center and the edge throughout the experiment up to a temperature of over 200 degrees is always less than 10 degrees. Okay, so it's basically negligible at the start, and at the end you get a few degrees difference, but it's still pretty negligible. So that's very good. Now if we look at the 18 centimeter hob, it's also not terrible, and I think we can attribute that to the copper, to how well the base of the Atlantis is able to distribute heat. So in the first half, we get a difference of less than 10 or less than 15 degrees, and towards the end, the difference settles to around just over 20 degrees. And obviously, this being a smaller hob, the power output is lower, and we also use the lower heat setting, so it took a much longer time to reach around 200 degrees or so compared to the 21.5 centimeter hob. So this is for the 18, okay? So at the end, around 22 degrees difference. And if we look at the 16, which is very undersized considering the 24 centimeter diameter, it is also okay. It's not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. And of course, being a 16 centimeter hob, the heat output is even lower. And we also use the heat setting of 7 out of 9. And so in the first half, it's around 20 degrees. So from 16 degrees here to about 20 or 20, 24, 25 degrees. And towards the end, it actually stayed there actually. Okay, so from the middle to the end, the temperature difference was about 25 degrees, let's say. Which is not too bad, which is better than I thought actually. And so now we've seen the results, so let's go through a quick summary. So the question is it feasible to use this Atlantis pan on a smaller hob? And the answer is yes, but it is important that you heat the pan as slowly as possible, and that's to minimize the temperature difference between the center and the edge, and of course also to avoid the pan warping. Okay, so heat your pan as slowly as possible. And of course, this experiment is only applicable to the Atlantis. It does not apply to all pans. Pans with different construction, whether it's fully clad or disc bottom made from different materials such as aluminium, they will perform differently. Okay, and keep in mind that the bottom of this pan is once again very, very good at distributing heat. So I would actually expect say a tri-ply pan, a 5-ply pan, or another disc bottom pan to most likely perform worse than this Atlantis pan. Okay, and also keeping in mind that your hob will be different. Okay, everybody's got a different stove, everybody's got a different hob, so your results may be different. So this video is only to give you an idea of what you can expect, but nevertheless, I hope you found that helpful. And that brings us to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.